I can't see anything down here. Could I get some light on this, please? Ah, much better. Hello and welcome to Hard On Gaming, where the games are hard and so am I. I'm your host, Big Stiffy, and this is another mod spotlight. Today we'll be going over the Player Beacons mod. Now, as you know, or are familiar with, vanilla beacons are pretty crappy. They do not give much of a boost, and of course you have to be close enough for them to actually give you an effect. Now, over there is a tier 2 beacon pyramid made all out of iron blocks. It's super expensive to make these pyramids, and it takes up so much space to be able to make them. So, all in all, it doesn't seem like it gives you much bang for your buck. And of course, I'm only getting speed. Just base speed from that beacon over there. So if I put myself into creative mode and fly over here, you can see the beacon will give me regeneration and it will give me speed 2. And it's only given me speed 1. I don't know why. So let's get rid of this. I don't like these beacons. They're terrible, they're poopy, they're inefficient. Now there is a better beacon mod out there. It's called the Player Beacons mod. Let's put myself in Creative Plus. Now the Better Beacons mod is really meant for you to kind of discover things on your own. And you'll actually find in dungeons and such a booklet or like research notes written by some crazy professor who happened to find these weird structures. So let's get started on building this. Now this mod spotlight will spoil the content of this mod for you. So if you do not want to have the contents of the mod spoiled for you, if you want to discover things on your own, like I think the mod developer wants people to do, then you may not want to see this video unless you get stuck. So, spoiler warning, this is going to explain everything for you. View at your own discretion. So to get started on building these player beacons, and in fact, let's go over one of the things that is better about the beacons over vanilla beacons. These beacons will affect you throughout the entirety of whatever dimension they are built in. So as long as you are in the same dimension as the beacon, you will get the buffs from it. So it's an incredibly powerful beacon, but it does come with its own dangers. Again, spoiler warning. So let's get started on building this beacon. So if I want to, I can make the beacon pretty small and put these defiled what are they? Defiled soul pylons on them. Now if I click on this, nothing happens. One of the things you need for a player beacon, and in fact this might actually be too small. I might have to do it like that. No, that doesn't look right. Is that right? I don't know. I'll have to experiment with this. So one of the things you need for the Player Beacons mod is you need to build a beheader. And it says a cruel device, this will behead anyone who wears it. So if I take myself out of creative mode, put myself into survival, and equip this beheader, Big Stiffy has clamped a strange device clamped around your head. The device tightens as you hear it power up. Everything goes dark. With a quick slash, you suddenly find yourself without your head. And it says, I was beheaded. So let's go back into creative mode. And let's go over to my platform. So here I am. I'm back on my platform. I've left myself a little gravestone. But what's this? I've also dropped my head. Hoo-hoo. Let's break my gravestone and get my stuff back. There we go. And let's put myself back into creative. So now I can actually use this thing. I can place my head on that. And what's this? Let's come out of creative mode. Look at that. I now have speed, haste, and jump boost. That's incredible. So the beacon is working. And as you can see, there are some crazy particle effects being sucked into it. But let's click on this thing. Your corruption flows through your soul. The crystal fizzes away as it interacts with the beacon, releasing the corruption from within it. So as you can see, there is some kind of corruption that's going on with this. But now, how do I interact with it? Oh, what was that? I clicked on it with an emerald and something popped off. Let's do that again. There we go. I received a depleted crystal. So one of the things you have to know about the Player Beacons mod is that it is corrupting you. There is a corruption balance, I guess you would call it, inside of this beacon. So if I hover over this with a crystal, it says my corruption is at 580. So my corruption is going up really quick. Wow, 620. And if I do that, I lose it. Let's get myself another crystal. Let's get a few of them. Now the corruption has gone down significantly, but it cost me an emerald to deplete my corruption every single time. So it is expensive. Is there a better way that I can control this corruption? You bet. So let me just destroy my altar and make it a bit of higher tier. So here we can see I have upgraded my altar. It is now a tier 3 altar. But as you can also see, my corruption is going up really fast. So I have to be able to control this corruption a little bit more efficiently. Look at that. It went from 80 to 240 and then to 400. So my corruption is going up way too quick. If I get myself out of creative mode, you can see I have speed 3, haste 3, and jump boost 3, as well as resistance. So let's go back into creative mode. Let's deplete that stuff. Now with the depleted crystal, you can actually create several different crystals, and these will actually control your altar. So you know what? I'm just going to remove my head from that so that my corruption stops going up. And hopefully that'll work. So let's see. Yep, there we go. The effects wore off. So let's filter out. There we go. So we have several different crystals here. Now each one of these actually suppresses one of the effects from your altar. Now, in suppressing the effects, these crystals do not last forever. They do eventually burn up. And you have, of course, you do need emeralds in order to make these, because the emeralds become depleted crystals, and you use the depleted crystal to create these different colored crystals. So let's get myself several different crystals. Get myself 4 of those. Actually, I think I only need 3. So let's get myself 3 of each. There we go. Now, in order to prevent your corruption from getting too high, you basically have to find some kind of happy medium with the status boosts that you get. So I'll place my head back on the altar, I get my boosts back, and now if I place a crystal, let's see, each of these crystals relates to a certain effect. So this buffs the dig effect, or the haste. This will buff speed, and that buffs jump. So I don't really need jump. So let's completely nerf that. Now let's get myself another depleted crystal. So as you can see, now my corruption is going up at 100 every few seconds. Well, let's just fizzle that out. And let's take a look here. Yeah, corruption flows through your soul. So it's increasing at about 100 every few seconds. So now I can apply a buff to another thing. So let's say I want to buff speed. Now let's take a look. Corruption is at 640, 720. So it's increasing at about 80 now. So let's buff that again. Take a look. Let's deplete it. Corruption's at 30, 90. So it's increasing about, let's see, 15, 21. Okay, so it's increasing at about 60 every few seconds. Can nerf it again. Now let's take a look. It's at 380, 420, blaze it. 60. Okay, so now it's only increasing at about 40 every few seconds. So let's put a red crystal in. The red crystal buffs or throttles resistance, remember. So now let's take a look. 610, 630. So yeah, it's only increasing at about. And now I've only got haste 3. So you know what? Let's buff haste, or throttle haste, and take a look. Oh, look at that. My corruption is no longer increasing. So you know what? If I take and fill that with the brown crystals, I can remove this. And as you can see, the durability actually did go down on this crystal. So now I have resistance and haste 2. And my corruption is not increasing. In fact, it's decreasing, or at least staying at a single number. So there you go. You have to find some kind of happy balance with the buffs you get from the beacon in order to control it. Or you can just go crazy and have all the buffs all at once. You know, you can do either one. Now, I want to show you what exactly will happen if you allow the effects of the beacon to basically go all out. So let's put myself into creative mode, because this is going to get nasty. I'll take all the crystals out. As you can see, you can't just leave the crystals in there forever. Unfortunately, you will eventually have to replace them. So that's something to keep in mind. So let's give myself all the status effects. Boy, I can really jump. And let's take a look and see how much my corruption is going up. Oh boy, corruption's going up pretty fast. I'll do a jump cut to where my corruption gets to a dangerous amount. Ooh, now our corruption is starting to get a little bit too high. You feel an unknown force grasp at you from the beyond. And now we can see the corruption level is getting high enough that it changed color. Now it's in the yellow. It's about to get hairy. You feel an unknown force grasp at your soul from the beyond, disorienting you. And look at this. I have a status effect, Corruption 2, lasting for 5 minutes. And the corruption's gotten high enough on my altar that it's gone into the red. It's over 10,000. Oh no! What's happening? You feel an unknown force grasp at you from the beyond, pulling you into another dimension! Uh-oh. We're in the end. That is what this mod does. Your corruption gets so high that it pulls you straight into the end. And you'll have to face the dragon, ready or not. So there you go. That is the Player Beacons mod. Now, of course, I don't want to fight the dragon, so I'm just gonna... Oh, lordy! Oh no. You feel an unknown force grasp at you from the beyond. So you still have the effects of the Player Beacon. And you'll have to get back to where you set up the Player Beacon pretty quick. Otherwise, you're going to keep getting sucked back into that dimension. And that's not a fun time. So here we are. Back at the altar. Let's diffuse all this negative energy. Because, man, it's harsh and my mellow. And there you go. I've used up a few crystals in order to purify my soul. Yep. Ooh. Oh my god, I even have Wither. So yeah, that's the Player Beacons mod. The Player Beacon is a very powerful device. It can help you all throughout the lands of Minecraftia, so long as you're in the dimension that it's in. So this could help you in the Nether, it could help you in the end. But just be careful that you do not let the corruption get out of hand, otherwise you're going to get sucked to all sorts of different places. And God knows you don't want that. So there you go. And of course, as the name suggests, the Player Beacons mod, the beacons are bound to you, or whoever's head is on the altar. So, even if another player comes by your Player Beacon, they're not going to be affected by it, because your head's going to be the one on the altar. So there you go! That's the Player Beacon mod. I hope you enjoyed the mod Spotlight. Join me next time for another Spotlight. And until then, take care, Internet. I will see you in the end.
I bet you were expecting some sort of fancy outro. Nope. Just this. But hey, you know what would be cool? Clicking one of those links below? Yeah. That'd make it cool.